Boston, the Encore Hotel, and the NMOA Conference. So exciting. We got our little get-together, and as usual, casual. Most of the people involved don't know that we're getting together. So I had a great time with Chris and with Kevin. Talked to Sam from Colony, and I had a great time with Sara Fletcher. And I learned so much from Sara. And so I'm going to just try to share a little bit about what she shared with me. And I think this is just, this is like save the web for digital commerce, if you ask me. But, let's jump over here and see what we got in store for you today. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. Let's start with her little video commercial, and we'll turn on the YouTube, and here it goes.
Customers shop online, treating them to a new shopping experience that engages, delights, and keeps them coming back. Stylaquin adds a thin green bar to the edge of the browser window. Customers can activate Stylaquin by dragging products onto the Stylaquin bar. Instead of clicking on each product and then clicking on each image, they can see all the product images in a full-page layout, so they can flip through your site like they're flipping through a magazine. It's much faster and more fun, so they view more products. When shoppers see something that catches their eye, they can add it to their idea board. In the idea board, they can change colors and sizes, even move things around till they have exactly what they want when they're ready.
Okay, well, I don't understand all that, but I'm going to take you to the demo because then you can watch me putter around with it. I sped Sara up a little bit, because we have limited time here. We want to respect you all. So before we go to that, let's go to the PDF and we'll talk this through. Okay, it's a Shopify app. Now, I have a question in to Sara saying, does it work on anything else? But I know a lot of people use the Shopify, especially the smaller merchants who really could use the help. And let's say you've got a Shopify site, you've got great products, but you just don't get enough store traffic. And Sara explained to me that, you do all your Google and SEO and all the rest of it, but whatever you do, there's thousands of other merchants doing the same thing. And how do you get past that? It's not just about backlinks anymore because, the average site has a couple of handfuls. And, it's surprising if you have advocates that just by asking a few of them to put backlinks, you might actually increase your visibility on Google. But that aside, once Google exhausts that, there's so many that have a few. What does it look at? And Sara says it looks at engagement. How do you get engagement with your products? And, it's like if people don't come, how are they going to see? And if they don't see, how are they going to shop? And if they don't shop, how are they going to buy? And how does Google know what a great site you've got? Okay, this is a beta test that she did, and it started in 2018, and COVID, just as they were getting started, COVID launched, which may have driven a lot of traffic. I also want to ask, and maybe we can get Sara to do an interview tomorrow. I'll try to get her attention, but it's just the real promotion of this has just started like 2 weeks ago. She told me, but she said it was just getting started and COVID hit. Now, some of my clients had incredible site visits during COVID, so. Is this caused by her app, or is it caused by COVID and people just sitting around home with nothing else to do? Don't know. Although it would be interesting to do a pilot or a beta with a multi-brand catalog merchant or somebody with, it doesn't have to be catalog, but multiple titles, so that we could see if the one that's doing the beta is dramatically improved compared to the baseline that they would be able to see across a number of titles. That would be an interesting way to test it. And there's other ways to test it, but that would be a good start. So anyway, the results went up dramatically, and we always like to see that. Here, let's put a line in. Shoop, like that. Okay. And then they fell off a little bit, but still way above Down here was nothing. Okay, so the site owner had already tried a blogger and tried a loyalty program, but by the end of the first year, which is in here someplace, I can't read all the little numbers, almost 500% improvement. Woo! In sales, not just in site traffic. And that's really, really crucial here. And so let's look at the demo. So if the problem with Google's algorithm, I remember when Google first launched, and back in those days with Lycos and others, we would just fill our site's metadata with the keywords that we wanted to emphasize. At first, before people caught on, they would just have their content and their copy, and it kind of worked. But soon, like I own whitetail.com, still do have a piece of that. You'd put in whitetail, whitetail deer, and you just put strings of these things in. And then it would maybe find you. But Google had the idea of, instead of letting the web developer fill the metadata with garbage, even if it had nothing to do with the site itself, that they would look at how many people were linking back to the site from other sites. And there's ways to manipulate that too. It's been a battle ongoing all these years. But, it made sense at the time. The problem now is that most sites, even sites with a lot of visitors, don't have millions of backlinks unless they've been manipulating it. And so to get higher in the Google ranking, you really want this engagement. You want time on the site, etc. And so when you go to your website, okay, so here's a demo page of a pretend catalog. Looks great. I'll go into the menswear area because, I know more about menswear. And you click around and these things highlight, and that's about all that happens. Okay, so right now, from Google's perspective, you're just on that one page, right? So now you click on a product, and you can move around a little bit, but it doesn't really do much, doesn't show you a lot. And if you want to show more, you got to click these other images, and that you stay on the same page. But, it's not very attractive. Way back, Google or Land's End did a study, and they found out that people didn't like copy, and so we've never had any copy in the internet merchandise catalogs, and they all look the same. You can hardly tell one store from another. Very sad. Anyway, no visual hierarchy, all the rest. So I said to Sara, how do you get visual hierarchy? And she said, well, I wrote the algorithm. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So now let's pretend we'll go back to the top. So here we are in men's, and I just want to give it a try. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a professional demo giver like Bill Gates. That's a long story. Anyway, so you can move around the site like that, like a normal site, and you can click on the item and you can zoom around a little bit. But to see any of the other pictures, you got to kind of move around like that. Okay, now let's go back to that main page. Instead, you can do this lookbook. It's very, very subtle, and it's just it says lookbook on the side, a little green sliver, and we'll open that up. There's a little arrow to open it up. Bing. And all of a sudden, you've got a layout where all of these, where this item stuff, which is still available, you can still see it, you can scroll up and down on the page, or you can expand it over here, and it still gives you a nice layout, and you can still do all the stuff here that you saw, and you can still move down featured items and alternative items and get the copy and all that, but it's laid out in a nice, much more visually attractive layout, more like a catalog or a magazine or something like that, okay? And then you can also take these items and you can build an idea board. Okay, you can add it to the idea board up here. Okay, and then you can see all three of them. And if you click on them, you get reminded of what's going on. You can see them, all together. It's sort of a pre-shopping cart as far as I can tell, and it kind of goes back and forth. So when you have, so all of this builds engagement, and all of this gives Google clues because it's built for that. That says your catalog is more interesting. Your e-tailing is more interesting. This is the National E-Tailer Show. And leverages that to get more people to your site and to make it more fun once they get there. So that's the kind of things that happen at shows. You get to meet people and find out what they're up to. And Sam had another great idea that I'm going to talk with him about tomorrow, and maybe that will be the show for Friday. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. And if you're really smart, you should be at some real live in-person shows or at least meetups with the WDMA.